Alright guys, official basket training day. I always basket train my birds before I take them down the road to teach them that the basket's not a scary place. A lot of times, obviously, birds have never experienced a basket, so they're terrified. I don't handle my birds very often, so when I go in there and start grabbing birds, now this is something new, so a lot of things they fear. This here is just to teach them that the basket isn't a scary place. Try to remove as much stress from the bird as possible. There's a lot of stress. They're still finishing up the molt. Again, I walked in there this morning. I started grabbing birds off perches. That's something new. That's something stressful for them. So I'm trying to eliminate as much stress as possible so that when I do go down the road in the distance where they're not close to home, I don't want them to have that additional stress. I want them to come out of the basket knowing exactly what is expected of them and go from there. Now, I don't mean to say that these birds are going to learn anything in terms of what I want from them. The point I'm trying to make is the less stress they have, the less fear of the basket, the more confident they're going to come out of the basket knowing, what to do because they've done it half a dozen times. So usually what I'll do is like you can see here, I'm in front of my house. I got the baskets set down. I got the birds in the baskets. They are overcrowded. This year we bred quite a few, and because of that, I'm really attributing the amount of birds I have left to the settling cage. I still have a good amount of birds. We probably have 85, 86 birds, and I ran out of baskets, honestly. They are a little bit crowded, but still not overkill. No bird sitting on top of another bird, but still overcrowded. I don't want to keep them in here too long. I just want to give them enough time so that they calm down, and then I'll slowly start to release them. I'll do this probably 1 or 2 more times depending on how they leave the baskets today, and then I'll start taking them down the road. And I usually start very small. If the birds are ranging well, I'll start them at a mile just to see how they do. But in my case, since I was on the dark, they are not ranging, so I'm going to start them at about a half a mile from the house, just again so that when they get airborne, they get high enough, they can easily see the loft right away, and they lose that panic, so to speak, of being away from home, being someplace where they necessarily haven't been. But half a mile, you can imagine, you can see that distance when you're up in the air that high. So I'm not going to wait too much longer. They've already been out here probably about 10-15 minutes. Probably give them another 5 minutes or so, and then I'll let them up. Unfortunately, I am by myself, so I can't really film the release, and I don't want to, like I said, stress them out any more than I have to. So this would be it. I just wanted to show you guys. I know Terry and I from Hidden Hollow were discussing basket training on a couple of his videos. I noticed some of the birds were still sitting in the basket once the basket was open, and it didn't seem like they knew exactly what they should do until he scared them out. And again, for the most part, that's okay. The point I'm trying to stress really is to educate that bird without developing a unnecessary fear. I hate any scaring methods. I hate flagging birds up because that just scares them. I hate all of that. I like to ease into training or ease into anything I do as light as possible. I don't want these birds to develop any sort of fear of me, any sort of unnecessary fear. They're still going to fear me because, again, I don't treat them as pets. I don't handle them daily, things of that nature. I may pick up 1 or 2 because I don't, with that many birds, I don't know what band is what until I pick it up and I look in my book and realize some of the birds are starting to look so good. It's just surprising. It's overnight and the bird looks different. After the molt, they look completely different. So I don't waste too much time. Like I said, I might pick them up just to see the band, handle them a bit, and put them back on the perch. So the key here is, again, don't just snatch birds off the perches. I would say the best method would be to collect the birds in the dark and leave them in the baskets. But if that's not an option, just go as light as possible. Don't snatch birds. Definitely don't use a net. Try as best as possible to pick them up as gently as possible. Put them in the basket so they don't develop that fear. That's the gist of it, guys. Like I said, I'll do this a couple more times, and then down the road they go. I am definitely behind this year. Last year, my first road training toss was June 30th, and you can see today is July 5th. So we're not doing very well, or July 6th, to be honest. But I think I can still catch them up. I may miss the first race, and that's okay. I'd rather miss the first race than lose half my team because of my arrogance. But nonetheless, we'll see you on the next one, guys. I wish I can film it for you. Maybe next time I'll grab a tripod and we'll see how that goes. But you get the gist of it. Let them out, let them get comfortable. See, they're still kind of fighting around a little bit, so I'll give them a few more minutes and then I'll start slowly letting them up. Probably one basket at a time. I may do them all just for their first time out. I'll probably just do all 4 baskets. So either way, we'll see you on the next one, guys. So they quickly realized that they were home. You can see there's my house there. They're flying right over where their loft is. So that was the idea, guys. You can see we have a really good team this year. That's a large group of birds. I'm hoping I can get them down the road here within the next week. Our first race is at the end of July, and like I said, I may have to miss the first race because I'm so far behind. But I think they'll catch up shortly. It's a good team of birds. Awesome, awesome. All right, let's go clean up the baskets.